Hello, Mr. Gurway. This is Blake, and this is my discussion video for Tuesdays with Morrie. Alright, pretty clever, Mr. Gurway, doing it on a Tuesday. Alright, first question. Who do you think got more out of their Tuesday meetings, Mitch or Morrie? In what ways? How do you think each would answer this question? Well, I feel that Mitch definitely got more out of the book, not the book, the meetings, than Morrie did. Because he learned like a lot from Morrie. Morrie had a ton of other visitors, not just Mitch, and while he might have liked Mitch like a lot, I feel that like most other he's he had other people, and Mitch kind of only had that going for him right then. Because Mitch, as he like said through the book, he kind of almost felt guilty about himself, like about how he'd been living, how he kind of gave up on his own dreams. So I feel like Morrie definitely got, no, I can't talk. Mick definitely got more out of the meetings with Morrie than Morrie did himself. Not to say that Morrie didn't get, he got companionship of, and got reconnected with people, and that's what he liked to do. He liked to talk. So it did definitely make his last while on Earth a bit better. Loud truck. All right. Well, sorry for the loud truck. Um, yes, but how they would answer? I think they would each say that I think Mick would say that he got more out of it, and Morrie would say that he got more out of it because Mick, I think, understands the value that Morrie brought to the table, but and then also Morrie would just because he's so nice and he's very respectful, would definitely make it seem as if that Mick was giving him more, giving him companionship and stuff. Yeah. Number two. Discuss Morrie's criticisms of Mick throughout the book. Do you think Morrie should have been tougher on him? Easier? Well, I don't think that he was very harsh at all in the criticisms that he gave Mick. I think for the most part he was very calm, and his critiques were like really minor, and he just kind of gave it to him like a little bit, here and there, like you do with the kids. And he was like, I'm not gonna tell people when they're not to have kids. But like overall, like I think kids don't have good idea. Like he wasn't bashing on Mitch for not having kids. Um, like you said, like everything else that Jim did, like I feel like Morrie was just really nice to him, and was really easygoing, and really gave him ways to, just like grow naturally, not through someone telling you to do something. I think that was like a good part of the book. Is that whatever Morrie's advice was on whatever part that they were discussing, whatever Tuesday, it didn't really matter. So it was a good one. Okay. Number three. Do you think Mitch would have listened if Morrie hadn't been dying? Does impending death automatically make one's voice able to penetrate where it couldn't have before? Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, Mitch wouldn't have listened. He was too busy working. I don't think he would have really thought about Morrie, to be honest, the rest of his life if I'd been dying. It's kind of like a depressing thing to think about that the death of Morrie and his impending death kind of brought him there. I mean, um, yeah, but like no, Mitch was too busy. Like he said, he worked too much. He was constantly doing shows and not shows, but like being on TV, you know, writing like things, and like he goes to like he said he went to England a lot too. So he definitely did a lot. Yeah, that's what was more parts of this question. Yeah, definitely. When people get like the news that they're gonna die, it definitely makes what they're gonna say a bit more valuable because it's not like Morrie just saying one thing and then 10 years later saying something else because he doesn't have 10 years. He only has now. So whatever he really says to people is it's now, and it's not gonna change because there's nothing to change into because it's gonna be gone. So what he's saying right now is what he truly feels, what he truly wants to get across to people. So it's really important to listen out of respect and also just out of you know common sense. People tend to say pretty important stuff if you care to listen. So number 4. Does this book make Morrie's death a public event? If so, how is it similar to other public deaths we've experienced as a society? How is it different? It definitely made his death a lot more public, even though he was already on TV. Um, but it was kind of like a different way. Like it was really like a new insight. Um, but it was like really a new insight on the whole like how we envision people die. It's especially different because of the disease of ALS that he had. Um, because it was like a pretty harsh and you know of disease. It's not just like he passed away overnight or was murdered, which is a lot. That's most of our public deaths cover people who you know just die due to murder or something like Martin Luther King and JFK, all those people. This was a lot calmer and more educational. In the terms of it wasn't meant to fear; it was meant to aid in the ability to move through life and to look past death and realize that we're all here together and that we don't really have to not to like worry about like little things like material possessions and stuff. Morrie referred to himself as a bridge, a person who is in between life and death, which makes him useful to others as a tool to understand both. Talk about other literary, historical, political, or religious figures who have also served this purpose. Um, well, this one kind of caught me off guard. um, well, obviously, I know this, well, Christ, Jesus Christ, he died, came back, and it's kind of like a tool to show people like what the afterlife is like, if you believe in that sort of thing. Um, definitely, just I can't really think, but just like elderly people in most books tend to almost be like this. A lot of them tend to give advice like, about dying and but even less about like how they're dying, more about how to live. Um, it's almost like a stereotype in books, an archetype. Is that like the elderly person giving advice about how to live because they've lived and they don't have too much time on their hands. I specific ones are drawing a blank right now, obscure, but I feel that it's like overall like it's very common, but in this one, the way they just slowly throughout the entire book was very good and well executed. Um, I feel like the message would have been really lost if um, it was just him talking about it and then he just died. I felt like because we knew that he was dying at the beginning and then went through and we saw the stages that he was at, like slowly losing his independence to like walk and like eat stuff. And people always had to like he couldn't even move his head because he had to get like adjusted on the stuff. Um, yeah, I think that was really good in the book. Morrie told Mitch about the tension of opposites. talk about this as a metaphor for the book and for society. Um, the tensions of opposites, if I recall correctly, it was about like the rubber band. How you always seem to be pulled towards one thing and you have to do the other, vice versa. That you're always like struggling back and forth to do things. I feel like everyone gets that, and on the book, I feel like sort of like pulled Mitch a lot through it. It was like at one point it was his desire to like help Morrie out, um, almost like spiritually with his like knowledge and stuff. But also torn between you know just seeing him weak every day and like really having to go through that. And then also his own tension just with his life. He has money and stuff, and he has like wife and stuff, but he doesn't until like use it because he works so much, and it's not really what he wanted for himself. It's almost like he was struggled by like fear because of his uncle. He wanted to do like fun things and really made it his mark where he wanted it, but his uncle passed away due to prostate cancer, maybe liver cancer, I don't remember. And then his brother got it. Um, I guess kind of all put the fear into work on him, so he can do what he wants and he can get everything, you know. So yeah. All right. Number 7. Mitch made a list of topics about which he wanted Molly's insight and clarity. In what ways would your list be the same or different? Um, well, obviously, our things gonna be like different than his because he obviously he's a lot older than us, and I'm gonna just try to find his list here real quick. So, nice little pause. All right, so I found the list. Um, Mick wrote down death, fear, aging, greed, marriage, family, society, forgivingness, and having a meaningful life. Um, Obviously, our list is gonna be different. Like we probably wouldn't talk about death, because we're so young. We're only 17. Um, Aging would be a big one though, because we're in a big like transitions in our lives to go from like basically as being kids to adults. Is the big gap is in the next couple years. Um, Obviously, we don't have anything to like maybe some of us would have family, but I think for the most part it was about kids, and I feel like no one our age should be talking about kids right now. It's not really right now, but definitely greed. Like greed and meaningful life, I feel go together when you're talking about what we're gonna do right now, because it's like you have to choose what you want to do and what will happen to you. Um, for example, if I want to be a dancer, that's not going to make a lot of money, but if I want to be a lawyer, that will. But what if I don't want to be a lawyer? I just want the money. They're big things to think about right now. So I feel like Morrie would have a lot of insight if I made that list, and if we as a generation made that list. Like I said, it's just a big difference. Like this book is old. Like it happened a while ago. Um, we more people will be able to talk to him a lot easier now and stuff. But back then, obviously, like it was like, kind of like letters. You couldn't really do a lot else. Um, so yeah, it was just we would have some similarities in our list, but I think overall we would have some pretty big differences too. You know. Um, all right, number 8. Morrie said, if you found a meaning in your life, you don't want to go back. You want to go forward. Is this true in your experience? Um, Not for many things, and again, I think that's because we're so young. We haven't really found like what we really want to do right now. But I feel like overall that's true. Like when you really find something that you want to do, or that truck again, that you really want to do, uh, you don't. You just kind of want to keep going with it. Kind of want to see where it leads you, as opposed to other people you know, obviously everyone has regrets that they want to change, whether it's like not buying that lottery ticket or like, buying that car. Um, but like those are like little material things. I feel like major decisions, most people, um, if they're really happy, they obviously don't want to change. Like if you're really happy in your marriage, you don't want to, you don't want to go back and marry someone else. You want to see where your life goes with them, And I mean, we're a bit young to like really worry about those big decisions right now. The biggest one that we probably have right now is where to go to college, what to do with our lives, but um, nothing, nothing like truly life changing, like having a kid or something. All right, number 9. Was Morrie judging people who choose not to have kids with this statement? If you want to experience the experience of having complete responsibility for another human being and to learn how to love and bond in the deepest way, then you should have children. Whether he was or not, do you agree? Um, I don't. I don't think that he was like saying. I don't think he was really judging people who don't have kids. I think he was just saying like it's a big responsibility, and it's like a lot of things you have to a lot of things you have to do with it, and he really got to like it's a big deal to have kids, and I mean I don't want to have kids, and I think partially because I just if you don't like responsibility, you don't really want to have kids. I mean, also I'm 17, so I'm not really thinking that far ahead right now. It's 18 years you got a kid, so it's a big deal. But I don't think he was really judging people. I think it was more just like that's a fact. It is like you have complete control over them, so it's like a big deal. It's just with your life. Like you will never be the same again after having kids. Like it's like so whenever you see like things like my parents before they had kids, it's like completely different. Or you hear them tell stories. It's almost like they're talking about two different people. All right. Um, that is the last one. Uh, that was my discussion about Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom. I think. I think so. Mitch Albom, right? Yeah, Mitch Albom. That was my discussion. Thank you. Have a nice day, Mr. Guillory. Uh, see ya, class.